Arizona's death penalty system has been under intense scrutiny over the years, and while the majority of death row inmates are men, the few women condemned here reveal a different, often even more disturbing, facet of capital punishment. Today, we focus on 3 cases. Each case carries its own unique horrors and controversies, forcing us to confront the intersection of domestic violence, extreme abuse, and vigilantism. Our first case is that of Sammantha Allen. On July 12, 2011, police responded to a distress call at the home of Ame Deal, a 10-year-old girl whose body was discovered in a small footlocker. Court documents reveal that Ame, who measured just 4 feet 2 inches and weighed 59 pounds, was forcibly squeezed into a confined space. Before being locked away, she was reportedly made to perform physical exercises, jumping jacks and back bends, in scorching 103-degree heat for over an hour. The horrific details of her treatment, combined with the subsequent confession by Sammantha Allen and her husband, point to a case marked by prolonged and severe abuse. Allen's conviction for this murder has placed her on death row in Arizona, serving as a grim reminder of how extreme domestic violence can lead to irrevocable tragedy. Next, we turn to Wendi Andriano, whose case brings a shocking twist to the narrative of domestic tragedy. She was convicted for the murder of her husband, Joe Andriano. On the day of the crime, police discovered Joe's body in their Phoenix apartment, where an autopsy revealed he had sustained 23 brutal blows to the skull and traces of sodium azide, a toxin that can mimic the effects of cyanide. The evidence suggested a violent and prolonged attack, leaving little doubt about the severity of the crime. Despite attempts by Wendi's defense to argue that her actions were influenced by extenuating circumstances, her petition for review by the U.S. Supreme Court was denied in 2007. She remains on death row in the Arizona State Prison Complex, Perryville, a stark emblem of how even cases involving domestic relationships can culminate in extreme violence and irreversible punishment. Our third case is that of Shawna Forde, which reads like a crime thriller but ends in a grim reality, in a premeditated act driven by a self-styled vigilante agenda. Forde and her accomplices entered the home of the Flores family in Arizonacrime, Arizona. Claiming to be government officials, they intended to locate money in drugs to finance Forde's nativist vigilante group, Minutemen American Defense. However, when they found nothing of value, the intruders resorted to robbery and ultimately turned to lethal violence. They fatally shot 29-year-old Raul Flores Jr. and his 9-year-old daughter, Brizinia Ileana Flores. Forde's actions were not isolated but part of a broader pattern of extremist behavior that shocked both local communities and national observers. Despite her appeals and attempts to challenge the narrative, her petition to the Supreme Court was denied, and she now awaits execution on death row. The stories of Sammantha Allen, Wendi Andriano, and Shawna Forde are not just isolated accounts of individual crimes, they also expose systemic issues in Arizona's criminal justice system. These cases force us to confront questions about the role of domestic violence, the treatment of vulnerable victims, and the impact of extremist ideologies on criminal behavior. They also underscore how the death penalty, while intended to serve as a deterrent, often ends up entangling the legal system in controversies about fairness, proportionality, and the potential for miscarriage of justice.